ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 19. Sri Uddhava is continuing to describe Lord Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. And he explained how Lord, he arranged for the unrighteous people to be removed from the planet Earth and thus reduced the burden of earth. And he also thought how he will remove his own family members when he leaves, so that later on they don't become burden for the society. And he was very happy to establish Yudhishthira Maharaj as the emperor, and he has protected Parikshit when Ashwatthama threw a missile at his mother. Then he made Yudhishthira perform 3 sacrifices, Rajasuya sacrifices. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj, following Krishna, he ruled over the earth. Now after this, he shifts his camera to Dwarka from Hastinapur. Says Bhagavan api Viswatma Lokaveda Pathanugaha Kaman Shisheve Dvarvatyam Asaktaha Sankhya Astitaha. Supreme Lord Krishna also, he enjoyed various objects while following the path of Vedas and the social conventions, while remaining in Dwarka, but he was not attached, being situated in knowledge. So Krishna, he was also enjoying while living in Dwarka with his family members, but he was not enjoying as people enjoy these days, not following any convention. He was following first of all the Vedas. So not going against the injunction of the Veda, because that is the guideline for humanity. And also the Loka means the Smriti Shastra, which are made by the sages, and whatever is the social custom, not jumping that. So not doing things which are disturbing to the society. So in other words, he was well behaved, and this is how he relished. So there are people who enjoy and they are very frivolous. They do things whatever comes in their mind, break rules and break the rule of the state and also the religious principles. So of course if one breaks religious principle, there is no punishment. And then they also break the state law and they don't get caught, they feel that they have done something great. So Krishna was not like that, because he is also showing by his own example. And it is natural for him to follow the Vedic principles, not that he has to make any endeavor, but this is his very nature. And he says, Kaman Sisheve, he relished various things, but not being attached. So there are two ways to enjoy. One is enjoying while becoming attached to the sense objects, and that is the cause of suffering. Because once you become attached, then you become slave of that particular sense object, and then you have lost your independence and you are forced to break the principle. Why people break the principle? Because they don't have control over their mind and their senses. So then naturally they have to suffer. Sooner or later, even if the state is not going to prosecute them, the nature will prosecute. The nature is working on the principle of karma, and that karma will catch you one day. So then you have to do some prashchitta, chanting of mantras, wearing stones, worshipping of yantra. You will do so many things to get rid of the karma. And karma doesn't leave because it sticks. So, like you cannot separate the fragrance from the flower. If you carry the flower, fragrance comes with it. If you carry the rotten potatoes, then the bad smell also comes with it. So if you perform a wrong act, then you cannot avoid the reaction. There is a sloka in Sanskrit which says that people, they want to perform irreligious acts, but they don't want the result of that. And they don't want to perform pious activities, but they want to enjoy the result of pious activities. So these are the two mistakes people do. They want something without doing, and they don't want something although they have acted. So simple principle is that action has a reaction, and the reaction can be very big for a small action. It is not necessary that a reaction is proportionate to action. Sometimes mistake is very small, the result is very big. You can eat some wrong food, even one bite, bacteria goes into the stomach stays there for some time, then one day it overpowers you. Because inside it is sitting and growing. And bacteria are very expert in growing. So then suddenly you start having a pain in your stomach. And you don't know what happened. You say, well, I didn't eat anything yesterday. No, it is not only yesterday. It may have come few days before. So reaction does not happen right after eating. So similarly we perform action. When reaction comes, he says, why this is happening to me? I never did anything like this. So we forget. Our memory is not very strong. We forget what we ate day before yesterday. If you can remember what we ate this morning, that is good enough in this Kali Yuga. But to remember what we ate day before yesterday for lunch, that is a little hard. So if our memory is so weak, how can we remember what all we have done? And now the reaction is coming. So we have to follow, as Krishna says, as Krishna was doing, Loka Veda Pathanuga. Patha means the path set up by the Shruti and Smriti, the scriptures. So we have to have Shastra Chakshu. Krishna has various qualities which are listed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. 64 qualities are listed there. One of them is that he is called Shastra Chakshu. Means he has the vision of scripture. He sees through the scriptural eyes. Shruti Smriti Ubhay Netre Yasya Nasti Andha Evasa. The Vedas and the Smritis are two eyes for human beings. And one who does not have this, he is blind. One who is physically blind is not blind. But one who does not have the scriptural understanding, one who does not know the Vedas and the Smritis, such a person is blind. So now you can imagine how many blind people in this world. Practically everybody. And then some blind are following another blind. Andha yatha andhena niyamana. One blind person becomes the leader because he speaks loudly that I will lead you, I will solve the problem, I will do this, I will do that. And everybody votes for him. But he is also blind. He does not have the understanding of the scriptures. He is also blind. So blind is leading the blind, and then everybody is going towards the blind well. So these are the eyes to see, the eye of the scripture, Shastra Chakshu. That is very important. So Shastra says that you enjoy, but ashakta, without becoming attached to it. Now this is the art. How is it possible that you enjoy and you don't become attached? So that is possible if one is situated in Sankhya. Sankhya Mastita, otherwise not possible. Indriyasya indriyasya raga dvesho vyavasthita. Every sense has its raga and dvesha naturally. It likes something, it doesn't like something. So how is it possible that one sense object is coming to the sense which it likes, that it will not become attached, and which it does not like, it will repel it? How is it possible? It is only possible when one is situated in Sankhya. So what is that Sankhya? Sankhya means the discrimination, that I am not the body, but I am situated in this body. Prakriti and Purusha, to know these two things separately, that is called Sankhya. Prakriti Purusha Chai Vidhi Anada Ubhavapi. Purusha Prakriti Stahi Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Guna. Purusha is situated in Prakriti and enjoying the gunas of the Prakriti and becoming bound. But to know this, that is called enjoyment without attachment. So that is what we have to learn. Because we are situated in this body, and whatever is happening is not happening to me. If I feel itching on my hand and I use another hand to itch, then it is only one hand touching another hand. I am outside of it. It's like you are sitting in the car and then it starts raining. So you turn on the wiper. Now wiper is moving and removing the water from the windscreen. It's not touching you. You are sitting inside. You have nothing to do with the windscreen or the wiper. Both are away from you, both are separate from you. So similarly, you are sitting in this body, which is like a nice car, and you have a tongue and you put food on it. So it has nothing to do with you. You are not the tongue, you are not the food, you are not the taste. You are just sitting inside. So then you don't become attached. You eat and you remain separate from it. You don't become part of the process. So that is called Sankhya. Prakriti Purush Vivek. The discrimination of body and spirit. This is the fundamental philosophy. This is the basis of all Indian philosophy. That's why Sankhya is considered as the original philosophy. Because everything is based on this principle of being distinct from body. Although in bhakti there is not much importance of jnana, this discriminatory knowledge, but at least we know that we are not the body. This basic knowledge is also needed in bhakti. So in bhakti there is another type of enjoyment. In the path of jnana you renounce things. So once you are situated in Sankhya, then it's very difficult to enjoy, because if I am not this body, why I have to labor hard for somebody else? Let the tongue bother about its taste. If I am not the body, why I have to work hard just to satisfy the tongue? Not happy. So once somebody is situated in Sankhya, then renunciation is natural. But in bhakti we cannot renounce, because we offer food to God and we have to offer nice food, something like halwa and puri, and then we cannot throw it away. We have to eat it as prasad. We have to honor, because eating prasad is also service. And devotee is doing service all the time. So eating halwa is also service. Now, if you have to eat halwa, then how can you avoid not tasting it? So it is possible. One is this Sankhya Mastita, situated in Sankhya, you are eating gatta sabji. How is that you don't taste the gatta sabji nicely? So then in bhakti they say we taste it, but we take it as a remnant of Krishna, and we don't mind becoming attached that way. So Uddhava, he says, what is it? Tavuchistano bhojin, uchist bhojino dasa tav mayam jayemahi. He says that we are your servants. And in the olden days, this is olden days, so don't become upset if I tell you this. In the olden days, servants will always eat the remnants. They were not allowed to eat first, and then the master is eating. When master has eaten, then they will eat. So whatever is remaining is remnant. That's why it is called remnant. So that was the custom in India. Therefore, wife will not eat before husband, and disciple will not eat before guru. Guru has to eat first, then disciple. And a devotee will not eat before God eats. First God eats, then devotee eats the remnants. So by doing this, you transcend Maya. Uchista bhojino dasa says that we are your Dasa. That's why we have the name ending in Dasa. Dasa means that not independent. We don't wear clothes without offering to God. We don't eat anything without offering to God. It went up to such an extreme that in one sampradaya, they were even giving their wife first to the Guru when a man got married. That first Guru has to enjoy the wife. That was of course a deviation. But it was going on in India. So then you relish it, but you relish as a remnant. So that is one way. Sankhya Mastita is one way, it's described here. Another is that you consider yourself as a das and not independent enjoyer. So you enjoy after God has realized everything. So this way one does not become implicated in Maya. Otherwise, very difficult to transcend Maya. And you keep on trying this chanting, this sacrifice, this stone, this yantra, mantra, tantra. Nothing works. Nobody is getting out of Maya. It's impossible. Not difficult, impossible. Maya is all pervading.
So then we cannot mitigate this type of reaction that we have to go through because of our past actions, and in that sense.
You can mitigate if they are not very heavy. There are three types of reactions. One are very heavy, one are mild type, and one are weak type. So those which are weak types, they can be mitigated. Heavy ones, you have to go through them. You can try, nothing happens. So, and even if you can mitigate them, it doesn't solve the problem. You get another one. Because unless you have Shastra Chakshu, the eye of the scripture, you are bound to act wrongly. And then you will do something more which will be wrong, and you have to suffer for that. So unless one becomes a devotee and surrenders to God, there is no solution. So whether you read Bible or Quran, this is the essential message. Surrender to God. Now people have forgotten it. because nobody likes to surrender. Everybody wants to be independent. But the paradox is that when you want to be independent, you are bound. And more you want to be independent, more you are bound. And the only way you can be independent is by surrendering to God. The more you surrender, more you are independent. This is a paradox, which can be known only from the scriptures. Nobody can solve this riddle. Nobody. So basically we only have two choices. Either we can be independent and thus become slaves of our mind, senses and the nature. Like the science is trying to be independent of God. And they are developing technology to control nature. They have become very successful by controlling air, and aeroplanes and rocket and water and earth. But every invention is also making you conditioned and under the control of the nature. Once you are in the plane, then it can crash. You are in the car, you can meet an accident. So once you are inside, you have lost your independence. So you think that you are the controller, but actually you are also controlled. More you are controlling the air. Now you can fly, but once you sit in the plane, you have no independence. And if you have little bit, then the air hostess comes and tells you, sit down. It's not the time to go to bathroom. Look at the sign. Put on your seat belt. Even little bit independence you don't have. You have to tie yourself around your belly. So don't move. So we are thinking we are independent because we are flying. But you are flying, but you are tied to your seat. I remember once, I had a flight. I don't know if I was going to Munich or I was going to Finland. So an airport is so crowded, long queue, first for depositing your luggage and then immigration and then security check, and in between there is no question of going to even bathroom. And then you go to the airplane, so I wanted to go to bathroom because it's already 3 hours, And the air hostess shouted at me, sit down. I said, I have to go to bathroom. He says, no, you cannot go. So what do I do? She was really angry. I think she was German. It's Lufthansa. So I said, this is our independence, So this is one choice we have, that we want to be independent and we lose it. Another is that voluntarily we accept the supremacy of God and then we become free from this bondage once for all. Then we don't have to take material body, which is the house of misery. It is a warehouse which has various doors, and whichever you open, only the misery is looking at your face. It's like one joke I read, that one guy went to hell after death. So he was given a choice that there were various rooms. He says you have to go to any one of these rooms. So he went to one room and he was hearing big cry coming from inside. He says, no, it looks very scary. Another one. So he went to various rooms, and wherever he goes he hears people crying inside. So he doesn't dare to enter it. So finally he comes to one room and everything is very silent. There's not a sound coming from inside. So he said, this seems very quiet. Looks like people are just not getting any punishment here. So he told the in charge that I will take this room. It is alright. So he opens the door and the man enters inside. So when he enters inside, what he sees is that this room is completely full of shit. And everybody is standing on their toes and the shit is up to the lips. And when he goes inside, everybody is shouting, "Don't make waves!"
Don't make one.
Waves. Waves.
Don't make waves.
That's why everybody was
Come quietly.
quiet.
Because if you move, it will go in your mouth. So don't make waves. So that is the material life, that even those things which look like nice and peaceful,
Have the downside.
don't make waves there also. You have to stand on your toes. So the next verse, he explains, Snigdha smitavalokena vacha piyusa kalpaya charitrena navadyena sriniketena chatmana. So how the Lord was having nice time with his devotees, that is described in this and the next verse. Imam lokam amum chaiva ramayan sutaram yadun reme kshanadaya datta kshana stri kshana sauhridaha. So Lord, he relished this world and also the other, means he gave pleasure to his devotees here in this world and also to the demigods who are in the other world, and specifically the Yadavas, because they were his associates living with him in Dwarka, and among them specifically the women. It says Reme Kshanadaya Datta Kshana Stri Kshana Sahrida. The word Kshana is used in a very interesting way here. Kshana means moment. Moment of time is called Kshana. It also means resting. So the night is called Kshanada, because at night you get moment to rest. In the daytime you don't have any peace. So you ask anybody in the daytime, say, I have no time, I am busy. Means I don't have a Kshana. So night is called Kshanada, and Kshana also means festival. So night is also a festival, especially if there are women and men. So therefore it says Reme Kshanadaya Datta Kshana Stri Kshana Shahida. Because he gave his time, Datta Kshana means time and Stri means women, Ikshana Shahina. By glancing at them and having loving exchange, he relished. And there are 4 ways which are mentioned of his enjoyment. He says, Snigdha smitavalokena vacha piyusha kalpaya. That he had very affectionate smile. Krishna has a very beautiful smile on his face. So with his smile acts in double standard smile. His smile has a double standard. And those who are not devotees, they get bewildered by his smile. Like we are seeing this book other day, How to Read Faces.
Mhm.
So there are various types of smile. People smile. There is a sarcastic smile. So in Bhagavatam it is described Hasam, what is that? Hasam Madakari Janas. That Krishna, when he smiles, he bewilders people. They become confused. And he also smiles at his devotees and they are very happy. So there are two words in Sanskrit, Madakari and Modakari. Moda means happiness and Mad is bewildering. So the non-devotees, they are bewildered by his smile. Means they become covered by his maya. He throws his maya by smiling. Like many times women, they smile at men just to allure them. So that smile of woman is maya. It is bewildering, right? So the guy becomes completely fascinated and loses his intelligence. Doesn't know that now this woman is just going to make you slave. So then he becomes henpecked. They say henpecked. So that is the effect of the smile. So one smile goes for many miles. So Krishna also does that. And then he has another smile that is to give happiness to his, that is Snigdha, Smita. That is very affectionate, very loving, kind to his devotees. So that is one. And then he looks. Looks can also be of various types. Angry look, sad look, and affectionate looks. So his smile and his looks says Snigdha Smita Avaloken. And then third is his voice, Piyus Kalpaya. Piyus means nectar. So he has nectarine words like flowers coming out. They just hit you. So you can imagine if Krishna is standing and smiling and looking at you and then saying something very nice. And Charitrena Anavadyena. And then he has his behavior, how he deals with, and spotless. Anavadyena means you cannot see any fault in him. So nice. So these are the four ways he deals with his devotees. That he has a nice smile and he looks very affectionately, he has very sweet words, and then he behaves. Means he is very loving, very kind, very obedient towards his fathers, very loving to his children and wives. So this is the perfection of life. This is the four ways he manifests his loving exchange with his devotees. Here the devotees who were on this earth at that time, and also those who are in the higher planets. Sri Niketena Chatmana. And he is called Sri Niketa because he is not a poor person. He is having Lakshmi with him. So Lakshmi means the abode of all good qualities. Whatever good qualities one can imagine, they all exist in Krishna. So that's why he is called Krishna. He is so attractive. Why is he attractive? Not just because he only has a name, but because he has a character to go along with it. Otherwise, some people are called Padmalochan, but they are blind, lotus-eyed. The name is Padmalochan, means beautiful eyes, but he has no eyes. So Krishna is not like that. So this is the reason that he is such a charming person. And who would not like to be devoted to such a person? So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Pancham Sashthashwarye Dyotayati Bhagavanapi. So in verse number 19, he has explained about fifth and sixth opulence of Krishna. Krishna has 6 types of opulence because he is called Bhagavan. Bhagavan means Supreme Lord. So fifth and sixth opulences are knowledge and renunciation. So these two are described here because he said, Kaman shisheve dvarvatyam ashaktaha sankhyamasthi. That he was detached, means renounced, and sankhyamasthita means situated in knowledge. So these are two very great opulences of Krishna. That he performs so many activities but remains detached. If somebody wants to do real welfare to people, then he can do it by remaining detached. Otherwise people become attached to something and then they do service, so-called seva, welfare, but they have a hidden agenda behind it, which is not easy to figure it out. Only when you deal with them closely, then you understand that actually this guy is trying something else.
But also this detachment seems also like that you don't take, you are not completely dedicated to something.
And that's why it's saying that he has snigdha, he is very affectionate. This is to be understood. Detached means that he is not like under the control of this process and then wants to enjoy for himself. If there is a need that he has to do something, then he will not be affected by it.
So he remains free, or
Means if there is a need that he loves somebody, if they are his own children, and he really loved them, it's not that he did not love. But if he now understands that it is better to remove them from earth for the welfare of humanity, then he is not attached in that sense, oh my son, oh my property, oh my this. Because then only you do wrong act. You perform wrong actions, the corruption comes because of attachment. Then you lose your principle. So he is not like that. So it does not mean that he is like an impersonalist, he does not take interest. So bhakti is difficult to understand. But bhakti also has renunciation, but also there is attachment for service. Otherwise it is easy to renounce and sit under a tree. But to have everything for serving the Lord and yet not being attached yourself and become egoistic and proud, that he does not have. Otherwise how he could enjoy? Because if you are completely detached, you cannot enjoy. How can you have affectionate looks towards somebody? Because when you are detached, then you become indifferent, apathetic, you don't care. So he is not like that. And at the same time he is asakta. So that's why these two opulences are described. So God, he has so much power opulence, wealth, and he is not attached. So we should learn that who are we to become attached. We have little few things, we become attached. If something happens, then we are crying. So of course we have to protect, because whatever we have, it is for service of God. But if by some accident or some arrangement we lose something, then we don't cry for that. We don't become depressed because of that. So that is the meaning of attachment. Because attachment causes problem in the form of depression, as it happened to Arjuna, because he was attached. So therefore it says Pancham Sashtha Ashwarya Dyotayati Bhagavanapi. That these two Ashwaryas are described here in this verse. Vishwasya antaryami eva asakta. So just like there is super soul is existing in everything. He is in the heart of every living entity, but he is not attached to anything. So like that Krishna is the Amsadeva. Lok vedeti. Lok vedayor anishuddhan eva kaman. So he did not enjoy anything which is forbidden in the society or in the Vedas. Indradi bhir upayanattvena preshitansh sevi. So he has got various gifts which were sent by demigods like Indra, because this Swadharma assembly house was given by Indra, or the Parijata flower. So all he relished, but without attachment. So he says, Atra asakta iti vairagyam sankhya iti jnanam. Asakta means vairagya or detachment, and sankhya means knowledge. Maya Sakti Vilasa eva tasya anasakti chit Shakti Vilasatva Sakti revetyaha snigdha. So now he makes it more clear that his detachment was only in the Maya Shakti, or manifestation of Maya. But he was very much attached to his Chit Shakti. So there is nothing wrong in being attached to that, because you don't lose it. It is not harmful to attach to that. It's only when we become attached to Maya which causes problem. But attachment to the Chit Shakti, the transcendental energy, that is desirable. So when it is said that he was detached, means detached to the external energy, the energy called Maya. Kramena avaloka vachana lila rupais chaturbhi madhuri. So these four types of sweetness, they are described here as his avaloka, vachana, lila and rupa. His seeing and speech activities and in his physical beauty. It's taking these four types of sweetness which he manifested. And I will stop here for today.
I have a question related to this mistake that many people are doing about considering the guru like God and offering to the guru whatever is relishable and whatever is clean and beautiful, and which the devotee has to do like a practice to offer everything to the Lord, and they take the remedies. So then what is the real mistake in understanding offering their wife to the guru, for example?
Because that's why it says that Loka Veda Pathanuga. That it has to be according to the
Shastra.
Shastra. So in Shastra, it is stated that when somebody becomes wife of the husband and they marry, then they take a vow that now the wife is the property of the husband and she will not have relationship with any other man. So, and also Guru is not, there are also injunction that Guru is not supposed to have physical relationship with disciple's wife. So this is against the scriptures. So sometimes there are general rules and then there are special rules. So special rules overtakes the general rule. Like you go on the road and the rule is when it is green light, then you pass. When it is red light, then you stop. But in case of emergency, if you are in an ambulance, then you can also go on the red light. That is a special rule. So although everything has to be offered to God and to Guru, but not the wife. That is not prescribed. So that is wrong on the part of both husband and Guru. It is wrong for him to offer and wrong for Guru to accept.
Because some people can say, I am more surrendered. There is a degree of surrendering and the degree of becoming detached. And to show this detachment and this surrender, you offer even that which is...
That means you are making your own philosophy. No?
yeah, so that is something like many people are doing that.
There are no examples in the scripture that somebody did like that.
So then, because now Krishna was also showing by his example that although he is God himself, he's not acting in a way that people can be disturbed in the society.
Yes.
Okay.